Okay, welcome to game one of a best of 5 series between what are the team names? I think we have Gold Rush versus the M&Ms. So spawning down here in the bottom left we have Myrmod on the yellow GDF. His teammate on the bottom right is Mikemadman as the dark green dynasty. Against them we have in the top left we have Man Golden, also known as Goldman, playing as the blue GDF, and in the top right his teammate, the one and only bikerushownz in the black dynasty. And prominence is the map. Prominence is the map. Quite an interesting map. Each player gets their own TPC to capture, nice and easy. But then in the middle we have this garage and this Merc outpost. So the Merc outpost is pretty important. It provides build radius, also provides infantry as well. So I imagine we'll see Bike and Mike fight over that pretty intensely in this game. So pretty standard coming out from both players, nothing too crazy, as Goldman looks to secure his Tempest processing center. Myrmod getting pretty aggressive with his field scouts. I imagine he was going to try and put one in this bunker, but Goldman got there first. Mike being fairly aggro too, might lose this dynasty guard to Bike. Bike sending a technician to his TPC. Mike moving his MCV nice and early, very early. He's actually only got one rig so far and decided to move it straight away to this bottom right Tempest field. Going to give him a huge advantage, to be fair, as it's going to allow him to build lots and lots of rigs and get a huge economy. So we'll see how that goes. Myrmod going for his engineer there, playing fairly standard. Goldman also standard. Let's see if Bike has decided to... Bike's moved his MCV over here. Looks like he's going to try and build towards this top right field. Really interesting this. I love this. Very out the box thinking here from Bike. Mike trying to shoo away Bike's dynasty guards with his own. Meanwhile, Myrmod has captured this satellite uplink, going to provide him some build radius, captured this mission control, popped down a satellite uplink and started building a refinery. Also managed to get hold of this bunker as well, so you can see that Goldman doesn't have this top left expansion just yet. In fact, Goldman, only one refinery, 3 harvesters, is now moving down to the low ground. I assume he's going to do something similar to what Bike's done, yeah. So satellite uplink going up, that does provide a lot of build radius, so probably enough to get him to this top left Tempest field. And as we can see, Bike, also now on three machine shops. I'm going to start pumping out rigs to this top right Tempest field for a good economy boost. And obviously Mike doing something similar in the bottom right. Although it's interesting, this bottom right Tempest field is a lot bigger than this top right one. So Mike probably in a better spot there, though. Bike does have this bunker, so he's pretty clued up on what's going on. A little bit of sentinel harass coming in from Goldman here. Great stun from Myrmod. Manages to catch a sentinel and get a pick there. Really nice. Goldman's going to be annoyed about that one. Comms officer coming out now really early from Myrmod. He has gone for that specialist pod, which gives him that comms officer. So comms officer provides comms bonus to infantry and also has a very long range and good damage. But that comms bonus, very important, giving infantry increased attacks and move speed. Little scurry. I need to figure out why my icons aren't working. Might have to restart my game. Goldman going for the satellite upgrade, probably riot pod, but we'll see what happens. Myrmod going to try and snipe Goldman's TPC here potentially, but Goldman's not going to let him have it for free. Comes in with the sentinels. They're going to get stunned up by the riot troopers. He's going to lose them all to their AoE splash damage from the grenadiers if he's not careful. All 3 do go down. Goldman does have a few field scouts, but they're not going to do too well against these riot troopers unless he micros like a god. doing alright. Gonna have to pull back now as some sentinels come in from Myrmod and even more riot troopers. Goldman taking pretty big losses here. Needs to make sure he can defend this. Does goes for the specialist pod as well. This little squad is looking good though. Bike with a couple of pillagers and a few Havoc's going to try and help his teammate Goldman here to fight off this attack. You do need to make sure they keep hold of this expansion. I think Myrmod's going to need to pull back here as he sees Bike's units there as well. Does indeed pull back. Meanwhile, Mike is amassing a bit of an army. Has used that militia ability of the Merc outpost to spawn some of them. Going to try and harass Bike's TPC over here on the right. Probably a nice little easy pick. Just take a minute to look at the economy. Bike's on 7 rigs, so huge economy from Bike here. You can see he's made quite a gap on the other players, and even so, still has a fairly sizable army. I mean, we're 6 minutes in. He's got 7 rigs and quite a lot of Havocs. I don't think Mike's army is going to do very well against this. Yeah, Bike pushing in with the villagers there. Manages to crush a lot of infantry. Gonna crush some more as well, as Mike needs to retreat here, and he tries to. Oh, Pathing absolutely screws him there. That's brutal, losing those Havocs unnecessarily. He's gonna be pissed about that one. Does have a machinist or a machinist up now. Actually, 2 machinists up now, but I don't think they're gonna be able to defend this coming in from Bike. Tempest rig pops at the worst time possible. That's gonna get sniped. Does manage to crush a pillager though, which is quite nice. Pillagers coming in, crushing or attempting to crush machinists. I don't think they can actually be crushed. But they just get absolutely melted by the flames. Mike going to lose this this shop now as well, and probably this second one as well, as Bike pushes on forward. This is looking pretty dicey for Mike, as he's pretty low on supply now as well. Bike sitting on a nice 79, whereas Mike's on 37, so got to be careful. Meanwhile, on the west side, Myrmod trying to defend a push from Golden as he puts down a support beacon, trying to create some barracks, spawn in some defenses and push this. He's got 2 snipers here on the back as well, and a comms officer, so very strong army here, even though not many units. Units of fairly high quality. While Myrmod does not have any specialists and is on very low supply. This is looking pretty brutal. He's managed to pick off 1 harvester now as well. And meanwhile, Bike's army continuing to progress down to the bottom right of Mike's expansion and base. This is probably going to get picked off. Still building. Mike does indeed surrender. Yeah, not a lot you can do against that. That force is pretty overwhelming, and that is GG from Myrmod as well. Game 1 goes to the Gold Rush team. GG. Alright, everyone is in. Nice. Welcome to Game 2 of Gold Rush versus the M&Ms. On the bottom left we have Myrmod playing as the pale yellow GDF. His teammate on the top left as the red or the orange dynasty, it's Mikemadman. They are against, in the top right, Goldman playing as the black GDF, and his teammate, sorry, Goldman's not playing as black, he's playing as dark blue. And his teammate, bikerushownz, in the bottom right playing as the black dynasty. The map is damn straight, really cool map, huge bridge in the middle. Each player gets their own TPC as well as a TPC that's on the bridge. So 2 TPCs for each player, and then a Merc outpost in the middle, which is quite important. Obviously it gives build radius, and controlling the central bridge gives you pretty direct routes to bases, and late game also enables you to sort of fire down from the high ground onto anything that's trying to mine this Tempest. So yeah, quite important to try and hold the middle if you can. Game 1, we basically saw Bike just outproduce and out-eco everyone to a pretty effective extent, so we'll see how Game 2 shapes up. Imagine it could be quite similar. So build's looking pretty normal so far, nothing too extravagant. First NG out for Goldman. Dynasty Guard from Mike trying to be cheeky and get a Dynasty Guard into that bunker. Goldman not going to fall for that one. Taking the frontal fortifications for some good vision. Mike and Myrmod doing similar. Myrmod also sending a field scout across to try and get some information on what Bike might be doing. Bike also doing the same, so I imagine these guys will clash. Will they clash? Yes, they will. It's a fight to the death. I think, I'm not actually sure who wins that. Oh, field scouts win that pretty convincingly. Makes sense, they do cost more. An early pillager coming out from Mike. So it's actually quite interesting. In 2v2s, you definitely want to go for an early pillager. Whereas in a 1v1, you maybe wouldn't necessarily. You can focus a bit more on eco, but he needs to make sure he deploys this rig. Mike maybe focused a bit too much on his frontal assault here. But a very early pillager, really nice. Really good at clearing these garrisons here, as it deals damage to the units inside, as well as the structure. So you'll see in a minute this unit will die. It's in here. Boop, there it goes. And then Mike can pop his unit straight into that. So really, really nice. A little bit of aggression coming out from Mike. Also going to enable him to shoot down this TPC of Bike, which will fall pretty quickly with 3 missile troopers and a pillager hitting it. As you can see, it's going to die pretty quickly. Bike maybe not too bothered about this. Doesn't really seem to be doing much about it, so probably going to go down. Goldman's put a barracks out. So looks like Bike is just mass ecoing. You can see he's already on 5 rigs with 3 shops, so very much mass ecoing, and does lose that TPC, but probably not too bothered. And Mike going to try and take out Goldman's TPC as well. Meanwhile, he is expanding down to the below ground off the back of this, which is really nice. Has moved his MCV to do that. Looks like Myrmod has also done the same thing as well, so that'll allow them to increase their economic income as well. But Bike opting to just sort of boost eco back at home. Does have a radar up now, so it is tier 2. Does have access to bore tanks, salvage vans, and another MCV if he wishes. Goldman opting to move his MCV down to the low ground now as well. Going to go for a nice expansion down here. Meanwhile, Bike has managed to fend off Mike's little early push and reclaimed the TPC. So a nice attempt from Mike to try and do some early damage, but it doesn't really look like it's had much of an effect, unfortunately. Bike now sitting on 6 rigs. Has gone very early air. This is interesting. So an air factory coming out very early from Bike. Has packed up his MCV. I imagine he'll move that down to the low ground to continue expanding. Matchsticks coming out from Bike. So Matchstick's really interesting unit. They do sort of Tempest splash damage to infantry, absolutely melt infantry, and do pretty good damage against structures as well. Goldman going to apply a little bit of pressure to Mike here in the top side. Has a little force of field scouts. They're going to get absolutely melted by the flames though. Ooh, does manage to stun it with the riot trooper. Very nice. Igniter going to get taken down. He's got a second pillager here. Just and the flame turret comes up, and I imagine that'll probably be the end of this pressure from Goldman. Yeah, he's going to retreat. Not a lot of point throwing away units. It does pick off an igniter, which is nice. Gotta make sure he stays out. Oh no! Oh, that's a visual bug. That is hitting them. So he's put the power plant in front, and the flames visually don't go past it, but they technically do. So Mike doing quite a good job of pushing Goldman back here with these flame turrets. Laser turret coming up from Goldman himself, but the matchsticks of Bike come in now to assist. These are going to do heavy damage, huge splash damage on those missile troopers. They get absolutely evaporated, as you can see. Brutal. Now they're going to take out these. Going to take out Mike's Machinist as well. Oh no, that's brutal. Losing a Machinist, a Machinist. Losing that early is really brutal. They are not expensive units. But now Mike's coming in with the rest of his army. He does have a Machinist and a couple more missile troopers trying to fend off this push from Goldman. Meanwhile, his teammate Myrmod having a pretty chill time. Bike not applying too much pressure, but does have quite a big army. Now they're gonna clash a little bit down here in the south. He needs to make sure to not stack his units up in the Tempest. Very unfortunate play there. So for those that don't know, vehicles take damage from Tempest when they get fully stacked like this, and they lose attack and move speed. So don't really want to have your vehicles in the Tempest if you can help it. Bike able to pretty much wipe this entire army almost, which is not good. These matchsticks doing so much work as well. Although he does lose one, gonna lose a second one here, but the Havoc's coming in behind it. I don't think he really cares. Economies are pretty much even across the board now though, which is nice. Although Mike seems to have a ridiculous income. I think because he's on 8 rigs. Has also managed to fend off Goldman in the top, although it has run out of units. Meanwhile, Goldman still has a few hunters and some sentinels. He does also now have 2 snipers and a comms officer up. I'm not sure where they are, but oh, there's one sniper. There's the comms officer and the second sniper. So, yeah, this is going to be this will be quite hard to defend. Myrmod trying to help out his team by putting in a laser turret. A flame turret does come up to do a fair bit of damage, but with the snipers and comms officer here, this is going to be quite hard to fend off. Mike does have an operative of his own, which is essentially the Dynasty sniper. Does a lot of damage to vehicles. You can kind of see it if it shoots one of these. Yeah, it sort of one-shots infantry. Gotta make sure not to lose it though. It does go down. Nice little snipe from Goldman. Really a back and forth here between these 2 players. Meanwhile, in the south, Myrmod actually managing to apply a fair bit of pressure to Bike here, killing a lot of his units. Might be able to snipe a machine chop here, which would be quite a nice pick. Does actually have maulers out now, so drone maulers is really effective against vehicles and do very good damage to buildings with their drones and their primary weapons. Goldman trying to build some barracks to help Bike here, sort of just trying to get in the way of this army. Myrmod putting down a beacon, going to build a barracks of his own, really to apply even more pressure. And barracks do apply a comms buff once you have researched the doctrine, which I think he has, yes. So that's going to be giving all of his infantry an attack and move speed boost. Bike going to lose his MCV here from these drone maulers, this army of Myrmod. That's a huge pick. I wonder what Bike's going to do about this. The matchsticks seem to be doing a lot of work, but now not adding too much value. This is looking really dangerous for Bike. I think Goldman's going to have to try and come and help him somehow here. Otherwise, he could be out of this game. Myrmod coming in. Here come the matchsticks. Let's see what they can do. A good bit of splash damage coming down onto the maulers, but it does lose one. He's going to lose a second one here. Oh, and a third one. Only one matchstick left and didn't really get a lot from it. Meanwhile, Goldman just absolutely steamrolling Mike. Sorry, I completely missed that. But Mike was still with a bit of an army. Oh, huge splash damage coming down here from the Scrambler, I think. Scramblers do a huge amount of AoE damage with their Tempest Chaff ability. I think Mike's going to lose his MCV here to Goldman. So we've got quite an interesting match here now, as Goldman's pretty much steamrolled Mike, but Myrmod has steamrolled Bike. Wow, that rhymed. So it's going to come down to whether or not Myrmod can beat Goldman and how much Mike and Mike can help their allies. Bike actually managing to rebuild some matchsticks. He's got 2 here. Going to try and pick off these maulers. If he gets them, it's going to be huge. He does get them. Very nice. Managing to snipe some of the maulers. So that's going to help a little bit. Did get a Tempest artillery to help defend as well. Still taking damage from bits and bobs. So Myrmod losing some of his army is reinforcing it off the back of this. Sort of rally pointing it to Bike's base. Let's see what Goldman's doing. Goldman's running down to Myrmod's base though. It's going to be a base trade, I think. I think we're going into a base trade. Goldman versus Myrmod. Mike's still got some rigs to clean up though. I don't know. And Goldman's got all this sort of base down here. MCV down there as well. Let's see if Goldman can hold this push from Myrmod. Myrmod's got absolutely nothing at home, so all of this is going down. He's got a few Tempest. He's got one Tempest artillery turret here to defend this, but Goldman's sort of doing a better job of defending than Myrmod was. Although, as I say that, he now has no units here at all, so we'll probably lose this. If he loses the satellite uplink, then he loses access to his specialists and riot troopers as well. But as I say that, Myrmod getting tanked from Goldman now as well. Probably going to lose his MCV here. Bike still has some matchsticks hiding in the corner as well. Wow, is this really going to come down to a base race? Oh, Bike's actually... Wait, when did this happen? Did I miss that? How did he get his MCV away? Oh, I completely missed that. So Bike actually has an MCV, which is huge because it means he's not out of this game. And Mike very much is. Myrmod is also being cleaned up as well. So it looks like it's going to go the way of the Gold Rush team. Myrmod desperately trying to clean up with what he can. I think he probably, yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what you do in that situation. Definitely should have killed the airfield. That's unfortunate. But yeah, I think this one's going to go to Gold Rush. I don't know what's going on with my game sound. It seems really like buggy. I also have no status indicators as well, which is really annoying. I think there it is. There it is. GG. GG is called. All right, coming into game 3 of the best of 5 series between Gold Rush and the M&Ms. Spawning in the top right, we have Goldman playing as the green GDF. His teammate spawning in on the even more further top right is bikerushownz as the blue dynasty. In the bottom, their opponents, we have Mikemadman playing as the red dynasty and his teammate Myrmod playing as the purple GDF. The map is Tropical Team Brawl. Now, this might be one of my favorite maps, honestly. It's just really really cool. It is actually symmetrical, but it doesn't look it. So the first thing to note is each player gets their own TPC. So there's 2 TPCs for the player, on the left-hand side. So 1, 2, and then Bike will have 1 here, and then 1 here as well. And then the player that is here has this TPC. So this is this one for Goldman. And then there's also a Merc camp here. So the general idea is that the player who's like further inland wants to defend this choke here, because if you follow the river around, it's actually, this bridge is not here, so it's only connected by this bridge and this bridge here, and then obviously it sort of like becomes land again, and it's exactly the same on the opposite side. So if you follow the river, it's only connected here, and then this bridge is non-existent. So, and then there's these 2 bridges up here. So essentially the inland player wants to sort of capture this Merc outpost, expand to here, and then defend these double bridges here, whilst the other player wants to expand all the way down here to this sort of Tempest field on the right, and then eventually move inland and pressure the southern double bridges here. So quite an interesting map. We'll see how it goes. Obviously some players opt to just push through the middle as well. Yeah, should be a pretty interesting one. Bike managing to secure the first 2 TPCs relatively easily without any trouble. Moving his MCV nice and early. As I mentioned, going to start building shops and rigs down on this eastern Tempest field. Goldman has captured the Merc outpost and is going to start building, I assume, refineries, probably a satellite link maybe, and some refineries to expand out here. We can see Myrmod, he's actually GDF, so I guess a little bit harder to expand upwards. Kind of just going for a more neutral build here. Hasn't decided to expand. Has captured his TPCs, which is good. And then Mike has captured the Merc outpost and has built a shop, and I assume will then start expanding out to here. So yeah, Bike already sort of planning on pumping out. He's got 3 rigs on the back. Economy is pretty even at the moment. Although it looks like Myrmod is opting to go 4 harvesters. So even though he hasn't expanded, he does have a pretty high amount of economy. Has put 5 field scouts in this bunker. Got to be very careful that Merc doesn't take them out. Really nice micro there from Myrmod, managing to take out both grenadiers. Very cool. Mike putting a rig here, very nice. Has managed to take the 2 bunkers in the middle as well, and a bunker here, so has good vision of the middle ground. There's that satellite uplink from Goldman. This is really cool because this gives you loads of build radius, so it allows you to build your refineries as close to the Tempest field as possible. Bike now on 3 shops, or 3 war factories, probably still just pumping out rigs. Has now started to make some dynasty guards as well. Actually already up to 8 rigs now, so as we kind of saw in the last 2 games, Bike is very good at just steamrolling his economy as quickly as possible. I guess that's kind of a dynasty thing. They do tend to do that. You just like poop out rigs and your economy goes berserk. So let's see what he decides to do with all that money. So far, nothing really happening as of yet. Myrmod has actually expanded to the center instead of opting to go for the left. I wonder if that's just a GDF thing, because I know that Dynasty like to take this. So maybe GDF prefer to take this instead. Either way, he's got a pretty good foothold. A couple of Sentinels and some drone ops and field scouts coming out now. Probably going to apply a bit of pressure to Bike. Probably snipe off this rig if he can. That would be a good move. Yeah. Bike calling in a mine drop? That must have been a mine drop. Also going for some early matchsticks again is Bike. Going double airfield now into matchsticks again. Does manage to pick off a rig. There's Myrmod. Meanwhile, Goldman on 9 harvesters, so the economy is really in Gold Rush's favor. Goldman on 9 harvesters, Bike on 9 rigs. Meanwhile, Mike only on 6 rigs, and Myrmod only on 6 harvesters. But you can see the supply difference does favor Mike and Myrmod ever so slightly. Bike coming in now, he's got 4 matchsticks. Lots of Sentinels out from Myrmod. Oh, does lose a Sentinel. Needs to be careful they don't get sniped off by these units from Bike. Does put them behind this rock. Oh, loses a lot of field scouts there to those matchsticks, but does actually take down 3 matchsticks here using the Sentinels. And it does have a Shield Maiden out. Really great anti-air unit. Going to be very detrimental to those matchsticks. So Bike needs to be careful not to get them picked off. They've got a huge range as well. It actually has 2 matchsticks now as well. Field Infirmary coming down from Mike, trying to heal up these infantry units. Manages to beat away Bike for now. But this was a relatively small attack. Not too many losses, but Goldman coming in the back now does put down that support beacon to give him build radius and starts building a barracks. I'm going to try and fend this off. He has a Shield Maiden of his own. Is there any... There is some specialists. He has a comms officer and a sniper. I'm not sure if they're here though. Manages to get a bit of damage done, but Myrmod's going to clear this up. The issue is they are very far ahead on eco at this point. Is Goldman and Bike, so... Oh, Myrmod on the east. Actually, Mike making a really nice engagement onto Bike's expansion. Manages to take down some of these matchsticks as well. I think he might have taken down a shop as well. Although these matchsticks are just ruining these Havocs, and all these Havocs are sat in the Tempest. They're taking damage from the Tempest fields. It's not great. It does have some Dragonflies now though, which is definitely going to help with those matchsticks, which is good. They do get picked off by the Havocs though. Bike managing to defend this pretty nicely. I think Mike's trying to go for military over economy here. As you can see, he's only on 7 rigs. Is applying a fair bit of pressure, but as long as Bike holds this, it's not going to be good for Mike. Does manage to hold as well. Continually making matchsticks as well, up to 4, 5, 6 matchsticks now as well. Needs to be careful with these units. Going to lose them to a bit of parting. I like the attempt from Mike to be a bit aggressive and try and take this out, but Bike defending it relatively easily. Meanwhile, Goldman, just being very annoying, has managed to almost completely fortify this neutral structure with some infantry. Has popped down a repair turret for the Shield Maiden, from the Shield Maiden. Just being generally pretty annoying for Myrmod to deal with. A couple of Tempest rigs here from Mike that have not deployed. Needs to get them deployed ASAP. He's on 8 rigs, but 2 of them aren't even mining. This game is going to be over pretty soon, I think. The economy lead from Bike and Goldman is just too much at this point. Myrmod's down to 4 harvesters as well, so obviously got a few harvesters sniped. Repair turret coming down, barracks coming down. Probably going to lose this expansion. Oh, these units are so grouped up, but just no splash damage. More reinforcements coming in for Goldman as well. 2 snipers and a comms officer amongst this army somewhere. Drone Mauler's out as well. So he's up to tier 3. Myrmod's going to lose his construction yard. It's not looking good. Mike trying to send some reinforcements, but a little too late, I think. Think they'll probably call it. There it is, GG. And Gold Rush takes this series 3-0.